Hey everyone, and welcome back to the KenkoVibe podcast. I'm Ethan Reed, and I'm really excited for today's deep dive.
I'm Grace Morgan,
Right.
and we're going to be talking brain exercises.
That's right, those evidence-based tricks to keep your mind, sharp as a tack.
Yeah.
So for all of you out there who, love to learn new things and maybe squeeze in a little self-improvement into your busy day,
Exactly.
you are in the right spot. Think of this as like your cheat sheet to understanding, how to give your brain a good workout.
Well, let's kick things off with something that might surprise you.
Okay.
Jigsaw puzzles.
Oh, jigsaw puzzles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I admit I always saw those as like relaxing, but not necessarily a brain booster.
Right.
What's the science behind that?
Well, when you're piecing those puzzles together, you're engaging in something called visuospatial reasoning.
Okay.
So you're analyzing shapes and colors and patterns.
Right.
You're essentially training your brain to see how all the pieces fit into the big picture.
So it's not just about finding the right piece. It's
Exactly.
about training your brain to like think strategically and solve those problems visually.
Exactly. And the amazing thing is that this type of mental exercise, it's been linked to protecting against age-related cognitive decline.
Oh, wow.
So.
It's like sneaking in a mental workout while enjoying a relaxing hobby.
Exactly.
Okay, so puzzles are in.
Uh-huh.
What else can we do to like flex those brain muscles?
Or about a good old-fashioned card game?
Wait, seriously, like playing solitaire on my phone could be good for my brain?
You bet. Research has shown that playing card games can actually increase the volume of gray matter in your brain, specifically in areas like the hippocampus.
Okay, hold on. Back up a second. Hippocampus. Remind me what that is again.
That's a crucial part of your brain that's responsible for forming new memories.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then the prefrontal cortex, which handles things like decision-making and planning, that also gets a boost from a regular card game.
Wow. So
Yeah.
all those times I thought I was like procrastinating with a quick game of hearts, I was actually doing my brain a favor.
Precisely. It's all about finding those mentally stimulating activities that you enjoy.
Right.
Speaking of stimulating activities,
Okay.
have you ever considered the impact expanding your vocabulary could have on your brain?
You mean like learning new words? I guess I've always thought of it as like a good way to improve my writing and communication skills.
Right.
But how does it actually benefit my brain?
Well, when you encounter a new word, your brain doesn't just memorize the definition.
Right.
It fires up a whole network of regions, especially those involved in visual and auditory processing.
Okay.
You're essentially creating new connections and pathways as you decode the meaning and try to use it in your own conversations.
So it's like building a stronger, more complex neural network by introducing new words and concepts.
Exactly. And a simple exercise you can try is to keep a notebook handy while you're reading.
Okay.
Jot down any unfamiliar words,
Uh-huh.
look up their definitions, and then try to use them naturally throughout the day.
I love that. It's like a little brain training challenge that you can integrate into your everyday life.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got puzzles, card games, and vocabulary expansion.
Right.
What else can we do to keep our brains, in tip-top shape?
This one might get you moving, dancing.
Dancing. Now that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
But how does that translate into brain benefits?
Well, it's more mentally engaging than you might think.
Right.
The CDC actually recommends dancing as a way to boost brain processing speed and memory. You're learning new steps, coordinating your movements, and even like synchronizing with music or a partner. It's
Right.
like a full-on cognitive workout.
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
So whether I'm taking a salsa class or just like grooving in my living room, I'm giving my brain a boost.
Exactly. And there are so many styles to choose from. Salsa, tap, hip-hop, ballroom. You can even just like put on your favorite tunes and freestyle it. The key is to find something you enjoy and just move.
I'm definitely feeling the urge to like crank up the music right now. This is great advice because it doesn't feel like a chore,
Exactly.
It's about finding enjoyable activities that challenge your brain in different ways.
Absolutely.
What else can we explore?
How about tapping into the power of your senses?
Okay, I'm intrigued now.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, think about how often we kind of go through our day on autopilot, not really paying attention to the world around us.
Right.
By consciously engaging all 5 senses, sight, smell, taste, touch, and hearing, we can create a richer sensory experience that actually strengthens our brains.
So it's like mindfulness, but with a sensory twist.
Yeah, you got it. It's about being present in the moment and savoring the richness of everyday experiences.
Okay.
Let's say you're baking cookies.
Okay.
You're smelling the dough, feeling the texture of the ingredients, tasting the final product,
Yeah.
seeing the cookies transform in the oven, and hearing the timer go off. All those sensory inputs create like a beautiful symphony in your brain.
Or imagine like strolling through a farmer's market, right?
Yes.
You got the vibrant colors of fresh produce, the aroma of like ripe fruits, the sounds of people chatting, the feel of the sun on your skin.
Exactly. Or even just enjoying a meal at a new restaurant.
Right.
You're savoring the flavors, you're taking in the ambiance, you're listening to the conversations around you.
Mhm.
It's about transforming the mundane into this multi-sensory experience.
This is a great reminder that brain-boosting activities don't have to be like complicated or time-consuming.
Right.
We can find opportunities to engage our senses in all sorts of everyday moments.
Absolutely. And speaking of expanding our horizons,
Uh,
what about learning a new skill?
I have a feeling our listeners are going to love this one.
Yeah,
It seems like everyone is always looking for ways to like learn and grow.
right.
Yeah.
And it's not just about like adding another bullet point to your resume or anything like that.
Right.
Learning new skills, especially as we age, helps create new connections in your brain. It keeps it flexible and adaptable.
Right.
It's like a workout for your cognitive muscles.
So what kind of skills are we talking about here?
Well, anything that piques your interest and challenges you mentally. Maybe you've always wanted to learn a new language or take up photography, try your hand at painting, or even master a musical instrument.
Maybe you've been thinking about coding,
Yeah,
building a website, or even trying a new sport.
exactly.
Yeah.
The possibilities are endless.
Right.
And remember, it doesn't have to be like this huge commitment.
Right.
Even small, achievable skills can make a difference.
Right.
It's about embracing the process of learning and pushing yourself outside your comfort zone.
I love that. It's about the journey, not necessarily the destination.
Exactly.
And once you've mastered a new skill, why not share the knowledge?
Oh, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Teaching a skill to someone else is like taking your learning to a whole new level. You have to break it down,
Right.
explain it in simple terms, and answer questions you may not have considered before.
Right.
It really solidifies your own understanding and reinforces those neural connections.
It's a win-win. You're helping someone else learn
Exactly.
and strengthening your own knowledge at the same time.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got skill learning and sharing.
Mm-hmm.
What other brain-boosting tricks do you have up your sleeve?
Oh, this one's a classic. Listening to music.
Now, that's something I can definitely get behind.
Yeah.
I'm always listening to music.
Yeah.
But what's the science behind it?
Mm-hmm.
How does it actually benefit our brains?
Well, it's more than just a pleasant experience.
Right.
Studies have shown that listening to music, especially upbeat and positive tunes,
Yeah?
can actually boost creativity and enhance brain function. It activates different areas of the brain,
Okay.
stimulating those neural pathways and helping us come up with new ideas and solutions.
So if I'm like feeling stuck on a project, I should just put on some tunes and let the music work its magic.
Exactly. And, if you want to take it a step further,
Yeah.
learning to play a musical instrument can be incredibly beneficial.
I've always wanted to learn to play the guitar,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure if it's like too late for me to start.
Okay.
Is there any point in learning an instrument as an adult?
It's never too late.
Okay.
Your brain is constantly adapting and creating new connections, no matter your age.
Right.
Learning to play an instrument engages so many different cognitive skills.
Yeah.
You're reading music, coordinating your movements, developing hand-eye coordination,
Right.
and training your ear to distinguish between sounds.
It sounds like a full brain workout. Plus, imagine the joy of making music and the sense of accomplishment that comes with mastering a new instrument.
Yeah,
You know.
exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of shaking things up, let's talk about the importance of novelty for our brains.
Novelty. You mean like trying new things?
Right.
Breaking out of my routine.
Exactly. Our brains thrive on novelty. When we introduce new experiences and challenges,
Right.
we force those neural pathways to adapt and grow.
Okay.
It's like taking your brain on an adventure.
I love that. But what are some like practical ways to introduce more novelty into my daily life? It seems like I'm always, stuck in the same routine.
Right. It doesn't have to be anything drastic.
Okay.
Take a different route to work.
Uh-huh.
Explore a new part of your city. Try a new restaurant.
Right.
rearrange the furniture in your living room.
Yep.
You could even just switch up your morning routine.
Those are great ideas.
Yeah.
It's about finding those like little moments in your day where you can break out of autopilot and
Exactly.
introduce something new and exciting for your brain to process.
Exactly. And the beauty of it is that these little tweaks to your routine can go a long way in boosting your brain power.
Hmm.
It's like a mental shortcut to enhanced cognitive function.
This is fantastic advice for those of us who are all about efficiency.
Yeah. It's exactly.
Speaking of efficient ways to boost our brain power,
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about meditation.
Meditation. It's so well known for its stress-reducing benefits,
Right?
but it also has some incredible cognitive perks.
Okay, I'm all ears. How does meditation impact our brain function?
Well, studies have shown that meditation can actually improve memory, attention span, and information processing speed.
Wow.
It helps calm the mind, you
Well,
know,
right.
reduce those distracting thoughts,
Uh-huh.
and enhance our ability to focus on the task at hand.
It's like hitting the reset button on my brain
Exactly.
and clearing out all the like mental clutter.
Exactly. And the best part is that you don't need any special equipment or years of training to get started.
Right.
Just find a quiet space, close your eyes, and focus on your breath for a few minutes each day.
Just 5 minutes a day can make a difference.
Absolutely. And while we're on the topic of like expanding our horizons,
Okay.
let's talk about the incredible benefits of learning a new language.
Learning a new language has always been on my bucket list.
Yeah.
But I've always thought it was like too late for me to start.
Mm-hmm.
Is it really possible to learn a new language as an adult?
It's never too late. Your brain is capable of learning and adapting throughout your life. And research has shown that being bilingual or multilingual has a profound impact on our cognitive abilities.
Like what?
Well, for starters, it improves memory.
All right.
Bilingual individuals tend to have better working memory and episodic memory, which is the memory of past experiences.
Wow, that's incredible. So speaking multiple languages can actually make me better at remembering things.
Exactly. And it doesn't stop there.
Okay.
Bilingualism also enhances your visual spatial skills.
Yeah.
That's your ability to, like, mentally manipulate objects in space.
Right.
Think about it. When you're switching between languages, you're constantly challenging your brain to process these different sets of rules and structures.
Right.
It's like a mental gymnastics routine.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
So it's not just about communication.
Exactly.
It's about giving your brain a good workout in all sorts of ways.
Right. And there's even evidence that bilingualism can boost creativity and problem-solving skills.
Wow.
So what language have you always wanted to learn?
Maybe it's time to dust off those old Spanish textbooks.
I think so. And while we're on the topic of practices that benefit both our minds and bodies,
Okay.
let's talk about Tai Chi.
Tai Chi.
Yeah.
I know it's like a gentle form of exercise,
Right.
but how does it specifically impact our brains?
Well, besides its, well-known benefits for reducing stress, improving sleep quality, and enhancing balance and coordination,
Right.
Tai Chi can actually lead to some amazing structural changes in the brain.
Structural changes, what do you mean?
Studies have shown that long-term Tai Chi practice can actually increase brain volume, especially in areas associated with memory and cognitive function.
Wow.
Like a physical workout that also strengthens your brain.
So it's a holistic approach to well-being, addressing both physical and mental health.
Precisely.
That's great news for those of us who are just starting to explore different exercise options.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, before we move on, I'd love to hear about one more brain exercise that our listeners can try today.
All right, let's wrap up this section with a simple yet powerful exercise that trains your observation and memory skills. Mindful observation.
Mindful observation. What's that all about?
Well, next time you're interacting with someone,
Okay.
try to notice 4 specific details about them.
Okay.
It could be the color of their shirt, the type of shoes they're wearing,
Uh-huh.
whether they wear a watch on their left or right wrist or any other distinguishing features.
So it's about paying attention to the details that we often overlook.
Exactly. Make a mental note of these details.
Okay.
And then try to recall them later in the day.
Mm.
It's a fun and engaging way to sharpen your observation skills and give your memory a boost.
That's perfect for our busy listeners who are always on the go.
Right. It's like a quick mental workout that you can sneak into your daily routine.
Wow. We've covered a lot of ground in this first part, from puzzles and card games to dancing, learning languages, and practicing mindfulness. It's clear there are so many ways to keep our brains active and engaged.
Absolutely. And the best part is that these brain exercises,
Yeah.
they're not only good for your cognitive health, but
Right.
they're also fun and enriching.
Absolutely.
It's about finding activities that challenge you mentally,
Yeah.
stimulate your curiosity,
I
and
mean,
bring you joy.
it's about embracing a lifelong journey of learning and growth.
Exactly. We'll be back with more brain-boosting strategies and insights after a quick break. We've talked about challenging our brains with all sorts of activities, but let's not forget about the importance of giving our minds a break, too.
Yeah, that's a great point. We can't always be on mentally.
Right.
So what are some ways to kind of hit the pause button and give our brains a chance to recharge?
Well, think about activities that help you, unwind and de-stress.
Hmm.
Meditation is a fantastic option, as we discussed earlier. Spending time in nature,
Yeah.
whether it's a walk in the park or a hike in the woods or simply sitting in your backyard,
Right.
can do wonders for your mental state.
I know. I always feel more refreshed and creative after spending some time outdoors.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of, hobbies you enjoy,
Right.
whether it's reading, knitting, playing a musical instrument, gardening, or anything else that kind of brings you joy.
Right.
These activities give your brain a chance to relax and recharge.
It's like hitting the reset button for your mind.
Exactly.
And speaking of things that help us reset, let's talk about sleep.
Sleep,
Yeah.
the cornerstone of well-being,
Wow.
both for our bodies and our minds.
Right.
When we get enough sleep, our brains can consolidate memories, clear out toxins, and essentially prepare for the day ahead.
But when we're sleep deprived, it's like our brains are running on fumes.
Yeah.
We feel foggy, sluggish, and we can't seem to focus on anything.
Exactly. And chronic sleep deprivation can have a serious impact on our cognitive function in the long run.
Right.
So how much sleep do we really need to function at our best?
That's the million-dollar question. I've heard different things from different experts.
Right. It does vary from person to person,
Yeah.
but most adults need between 7 and 9 hours of quality sleep per night.
Okay.
And I emphasize quality because it's not just about the quantity of hours we're logging.
Right. It's about creating a conducive sleep environment and adopting healthy sleep habits.
Absolutely.
Things like sticking to a regular sleep schedule,
Yeah.
avoiding caffeine and alcohol before bed, and making sure your bedroom is dark, quiet, and cool can make a big difference.
Yeah, actually, it's about making sleep a priority.
Right.
And recognizing its importance for our overall well-being, including our cognitive health.
Okay, so we've covered sleep.
Uh-huh.
What about nutrition? Does what we eat impact our brain power?
Absolutely. Just like our bodies need nutritious food to function properly, so do our brains.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So what kind of brain-boosting foods should we be incorporating into our diets?
Well, a diet rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins is a great foundation.
Right. These foods provide our brains with those essential vitamins and minerals and antioxidants they need to thrive.
Exactly. And there are certain foods that have been shown to be particularly beneficial for brain health. Blueberries, for example, are packed with antioxidants that protect our brain cells from damage.
I've also heard that fatty fish like salmon and tuna are good for brain health.
Yes,
Something about omega-3 fatty acids.
that's right. Omega-3 fatty acids are crucial for brain function and development. They help improve memory and learning, and may even play a role in protecting against cognitive decline.
So maybe it's time to swap that burger for a salmon fillet once in a while.
I think your brain will thank you for it.
Right.
And don't forget about nuts and seeds,
Wow.
like walnuts and flax seeds.
Right.
They're also great sources of omega-3s and other brain-boosting nutrients.
Okay, this is all great information, but I have to admit, I'm a bit of a chocoholic.
Uh-huh.
Is there any hope for those of us with a sweet tooth?
Actually, there is. Dark chocolate, in moderation,
Okay.
can be beneficial for brain health.
Wait, seriously. Chocolate can be good for my brain.
Yes. Dark chocolate is rich in flavonoids, which are antioxidants that have been shown to improve cognitive function and protect brain cells from damage.
Well, that's music to my ears.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be adding some dark chocolate to my grocery list this week.
Just remember, moderation is key.
Right.
Everything in balance, right?
Absolutely. And when it comes to drinks, I'm guessing water is the best choice for keeping our brains hydrated and functioning optimally.
You got it.
Okay. Water is essential for all bodily functions, including brain function.
Right.
It helps transport nutrients to brain cells and remove waste products.
Sometimes the simplest things are the most important.
Right.
We often forget about the power of just staying hydrated.
It's true. And speaking of simple things,
We've talked a lot about, like, adding brain-boosting foods and activities to our lives.
right,
But what about things we should be avoiding?
that's a good point. Are there certain foods or habits that can actually, like, harm our brains?
Definitely. Processed foods, sugary drinks, and excessive amounts of saturated and trans fats are all detrimental to brain health.
Hmm.
They can contribute to inflammation, oxidative stress, and even impair cognitive function over time.
It's like putting junk in, getting junk out.
Exactly.
So a healthy diet for our bodies is also a healthy diet for our brains.
Exactly. And it's not just about what we consume.
Right.
Other lifestyle factors like chronic stress,
Mm-hmm.
lack of physical activity, and excessive alcohol consumption can also negatively impact our cognitive health.
It's all connected, isn't it?
It is.
Our physical health, mental health, and lifestyle choices all play a role in our overall brain health.
Precisely. It's about taking a holistic approach to well-being
Right.
and making choices that support our brains both now and in the future.
That makes a lot of sense. So we've talked about a variety of brain exercises and healthy habits,
Hmm.
but are there any other activities you would recommend for keeping our minds sharp?
Well, anything that challenges you mentally and keeps you learning can be beneficial.
Hmm.
Reading is a great example.
Right.
It exposes you to new ideas, vocabulary, and perspectives,
Okay.
stimulating your imagination and expanding your knowledge base.
I'm a huge fan of reading. It's like taking a mini vacation for your mind.
Exactly. And it's not just about fiction.
Right.
Nonfiction books, articles,
Right.
and even online resources can be incredibly stimulating and informative.
What about brain training games?
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of apps and websites that claim to, like, improve cognitive function.
Right.
Do those actually work?
Some brain training games can be beneficial,
Okay.
especially for specific cognitive skills like memory, attention, and processing speed.
Right.
However, it's important to choose like reputable programs,
Right.
not to rely solely on these games for brain health.
So it's best to incorporate them into a broader strategy that includes, like, a variety of brain-boosting activities and healthy habits.
Exactly. And don't forget about the power of simply engaging in, like, stimulating conversations.
Hmm.
You know, talking to people who challenge your thinking,
Right.
expose you to new perspectives,
Right.
and make you think differently
Yeah.
can be a great workout for your brain.
I couldn't agree more.
Oh.
Sometimes the best brain exercises are the ones that, like, happen naturally in our everyday lives.
It's true. And remember, it's never too late to start incorporating brain-boosting activities into your routine.
Mm.
Our brains are incredibly adaptable and resilient.
Right.
They have the potential to continue learning and growing throughout our lives.
That's a very empowering thought.
Yeah.
You know, we're not stuck with the brains we were born with.
Right.
We have the power to shape our own cognitive destinies.
Absolutely. So let's all make a conscious effort to nourish our brains,
Yeah.
challenge ourselves mentally, and embrace a lifelong journey of learning and growth.
And remember, it's not just about, like, preventing cognitive decline.
Yeah.
It's about enhancing our cognitive abilities and living our lives to the fullest.
Well said. As we continue on this journey of exploration and discovery,
Yeah.
let's appreciate the incredible power and potential of our brains.
Right.
They truly are remarkable organs.
Absolutely. They deserve our care and attention.
Exactly.
And speaking of care and attention, I think it's time to move on to our final segment,
Okay.
where we'll, like, wrap up our discussion and offer some closing thoughts.
Sounds good to me. I'm looking forward to sharing some final insights and leaving our listeners with some food for thought.
We talk about all these, like, targeted brain exercises.
Puzzles, dancing, learning new languages.
Right. But it occurs to me that, like, even just having a good conversation
Yeah,
can be a workout for the brain.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, when you're truly engaged in a conversation, like you're listening actively, you're processing information, you're coming up with thoughtful responses,
Right.
you're firing up all sorts of cognitive processes.
And if you're, talking with someone who has a different perspective
Right.
or background than you,
Exactly.
it can really, like, challenge your assumptions and expand your way of thinking.
It's like a mental sparring match
Right.
in a good way. So,
Yeah.
don't underestimate the power of those everyday interactions.
Right.
They can be surprisingly enriching for your brain.
I love that. Brain-boosting moments can be found everywhere if we just pay attention.
Exactly.
Well, Grace, I think we've given our listeners a lot to consider today.
We have.
What a journey.
We've covered a lot of ground, that's for sure.
Yeah.
From like the nitty-gritty of brain anatomy to practical tips for integrating brain-boosting activities into daily life.
And I think the key takeaway is that, it's never too late to start taking care of your brain health.
Exactly. Whether you're in your 20s or your 80s,
Right.
there are things you can do today. Yeah.
To support your cognitive function and keep your mind sharp for years to come.
So for our listeners out there, what's your final piece of advice? Where should they begin?
I'd say start by choosing a few of the strategies we've discussed that resonate with you.
Right.
And fit into your lifestyle.
Right.
Make them a regular part of your routine.
Okay.
Even if it's just for a few minutes each day.
Right.
And most importantly,
Yeah.
have fun with it.
Yeah.
Learning and growth should be enjoyable experiences.
I couldn't agree more. Grace, it's been a pleasure exploring the world of brain health with you today.
The pleasure was all mine, Ethan. And to all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into brain exercises.
We hope you found it informative, inspiring, and maybe even a little bit entertaining.
And be sure to check out our show notes for links to all the research and resources we talked about today.
And don't forget to subscribe to the KenkoVibe podcast for more deep dives into health, wellness, and personal growth.
I'm Grace Morgan.
And I'm Ethan Reed. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode.